Saygıdeğer katılımcılar, İnovasyon İçin Eğitim Vakfı tarafından düzenlenen Uluslararası Toplum 5.0 konferansına hoş geldiniz. Dear participants, welcome to the Conference of Society 5.0 organized by the Education for Innovation Foundation. Bilim insanlarının çok disiplinli konularda araştırma sonuçlarını Türkçe ve İngilizce olarak sunduğu ve tartıştığı bu çevrimiçi konferansın tüm paydaşları için verimli geçmesini diliyoruz. We wish this online conference where scholars present and discuss their research results on multidisciplinary topics in Turkish and English to be productive for all the stakeholders of the conference. Sizlere açılış konuşmalarını yapmak üzere Sayın Doçent Doktor Gamze Sart'ı takdim ediyorum. İstanbul Üniversitesi Cerrahpaşa'da akademisyen ve İnovasyon İçin Eğitim Vakfı'nın ortağı Doçent Doktor Gamze Sart, daha iyi bir gelecek için yüksek öğrenim, üniversite sanayi işbirliği ve Birleşmiş Milletler Sürdürülebilir Kalkınma Amaçları konularında çalışmaktadır. We would like to introduce you Associate Professor Gamze Sart to make the opening speech. As an academic at the Istanbul University Cerrahpaşa and partner of Education for Innovation Foundation, Associate Professor Gamze Sart studies on higher education, university-industry partnership and UN Sustainable Goals for a Better Future. Sayın Doçent Doktor Gamze Sart'ı konuşmalarını yapmak üzere davet ediyorum. Please welcome Associate Professor Gamze Sart to deliver her opening speech.
Thank you so much for all. I would like to thank you, especially Professor Esra Yüksel Açı and also Professor Funda Hatice Sezgin in terms of arranging and organizing all this conference. I strongly believe in collaboration and cooperation in the age of, let's say, credentials and also in the age of ChatGPT, I think. We would like to see Society 5.0 in the coming decades, and I strongly believe that we are not going to shape AI anymore. Maybe the AI soon will shape us in the coming future. And then we are the ones, we are the leaders and also trailblazers in terms of changing and developing many important issues, particularly education. In that sense, I would like to thank you all on behalf of Education for Innovation Foundation. I'm so glad to see all the guests that they are participating in. On behalf of my team and also on behalf of the organization, I think that this is an incredible opportunity in terms of, let's say, giving new dimensions and new platforms for the youth. Thank you so much. And today, I think the Society 5.0 conference will discuss many important subjects that we are going to be ready for the coming decades. Thank you so much for the professors and also dear guests, Professor Güncel Onkal, Professor Alptekin Erkoğlar, and Professor Numan Durakbaş, that they are coming from different universities in order to discuss the main keynote issues of the conference. Welcome. And the board, let's say, is yours.
Gamze Sart hocamıza bu anlamlı konuşmaları için teşekkür ediyoruz. We would like to thank Associate Professor Sart for her speech. Şimdi sizlere ikinci konuşmacımız Profesör Güncel Önkal'ı takdim ediyorum. Profesör Önkal, Maltepe Üniversitesi Felsefe Bölüm Başkanı ve İnsan ve Toplum Bilimleri Araştırma ve Uygulama Merkezi Müdürüdür. Slovakya Bilimler Akademisi destekli Antroposen Çağında Ortak Eylem için Çevre Etiğini Yeniden Düşünmek başlıklı projesi kapsamında ziyaretçi araştırmacı olarak Bratislava Felsefe Enstitüsü Çevre Felsefesi bölümünde çalışmalarını sürdürmektedir. And now we would like to introduce you our second keynote speaker, Professor Güncel Önkal from Maltepe University. Professor Güncel Önkal is currently a visiting fellow researcher in the Institute of Philosophy, Department of Environmental Philosophy in Bratislava, in terms of his selected project by the Slovak Academy of Sciences, titled Reconsidering Environmental Ethics for Co-Action in Anthropocene. He is also the head of the Department of Philosophy and the Director of Humanities and Social Sciences Research and Application Center in Maltepe University. Sayın Profesör Güncel Önkal'ı konuşmalarını yapmak üzere davet ediyorum. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Önkal for his speech.
Thank you very much, and also good morning to all distinguished participants of the conference. And I would also thank to all organization committee and the executive community and also the foundation, Education Innovation Foundation for this fruitful conference, I hope. So today, as a philosopher, indeed, I would go some details and deeper concerns about the environmental issues in the era of Anthropocene. And I would like to talk some about the future of society. I should share my screen, my presentation first. Well, the first thing maybe I should say about the term of Anthropocene that refers indeed two meanings. The first one is the physical meaning. That means the geographical, geological, and biological aspects of and reality of nature, very relevant to human existence, indeed, and also human excessive destruction of ecology and resulted in ecological conflicts today, which currently represents itself as climate change and natural disasters. So the second is a meaning about the new era of humanities and social sciences, maybe, which as considering the future of human agency. So in this respect, the future of society here is based on the definitive idea of humanity in Anthropocene age. And in my talk, I will try to introduce the conceptual details of my research project that continues in the Institute of Philosophy in Bratislava in Slovakia. And the scope of our project is to develop an international, intercultural, and subdisciplinary understanding of environmental risks and their reflections in the scientific literature, in higher education area, local policies, and social lifestyle. So my main question here will be to think about which barriers we have for coaction in the era of Anthropocene, and is it still possible to teach ethical awareness, and how? What are the cultural barriers, and how does EU develop this ethical awareness through their politics? But as you see in my outline, the first thing I should say about why do we have to reconsider environmental ethics today? And how does the Anthropocene change this perspective? What are the challenges for action after COP27 and the phenomenon of post-truth politics? And how can eco-criticism help us to create a critical consciousness? So let me make a distinction between what we understand from environmental philosophy, environmental ethics, environmentalism, and today to globalism. First, I should say that environmental philosophy is a base or foundational applied ethics, indeed, against anthropocentric point of view, which was resulted by industrialization and also rational identity of humanity and modernization processes, and also deep ecology movements, for instance, human rights and land ethics of Calicut for protection. But when I say environmental ethics, it refers a kind of preservation idea for the biodiversity of the planet. And if we see the motto, save the planet, it refers environmental ethics, which is minimizing destructive human effect for conservative ethics. Near to today, environmentalism is a kind of product, indeed, a capitalism period. And it refers to the idea of sustainability, which is not so naive. And it controls the pollution and keeping development in terms of sustainability. So from environmentalism, we come to globalism, and especially nowadays, or issue climate change as a post-truth politics period, says many things about environmental justice for the all, and also it refers Anthropocene period here, and also we have or we face this infodemic environmental discourse here. So today, environmentalism under globalism and it is institutional hierarchy is not responding the ethical awareness of eco-philosophers adequately, and rather it becomes a policy-making negotiation tool for sustainability targets of the growth and leading economics. So we have such a ontological gap here between the nature and the environment, and this ontological gap between nature and environment is deliberately used vice versa by the political ontology in terms of post-truth discourse epistemology. So the lack of social justice, the catastrophe in green politics, asymmetry in post-truth epistemology have one thing in common, rejecting the idea of nature itself. So if we see the unbalanced, unfair relationship between current make-up green politics and environmental philosophy, then there will be a room maybe to revise the foundations of environmental ethics as an active eco-paradigm regarding the debates on Anthropocene. Why we have such a crisis today? We need to reconsider environmental ethics in Anthropocene because our human-friendly Earth is gradually destroyed. This is indeed not a warming, but an understanding the Anthropocene reality. Earth has arrived such a point that the speed of change we did upon it inevitably irreversible. The speed of change and the shift in Anthropocene will be more apparent in 2 or 3 generations. That means our grandchildren will experience how our world sinks into a catastrophe. And in that term, in this respect, we have entered a dangerous era and counting down for the irreversible human imprint on the global environment. And this picture shows us that we are unable to regulate ourselves as rational beings. The modern belief in humankind is created culture as civilization, and post-economic development ideas are all samples of overruling nature by anthropos. The humans only oriented of the represented reality becomes a totality on nature. The crisis in the nature is not the crisis of nature, but the crisis of political leaders, opinion makers, and liberal extremists. The most remarkable debates about the rapidity of change with direct and indirect results and human disturbance to the Earth system were after Second World War period, nuclear age, and the scientists warn us how humankind history dominated the natural history. The global economic growth is based on consumption, the use of natural resources for it, and this relation sharpens the acceleration that continues today in various aspects. We use the nature, we pollute it, and make all natural kinds as the object of wild marketing policy, burning fossil fuels on a large scale, more acidic and toxic production processes, deposition of calcium carbonate on the deep sea floor, and irreversible warming as climate change is apparent in our daily life. This is a fact. And this is a fact that the planet will not be the same and it disappears day by day. So the catastrophic climate disasters have a human fingerprint and the virtue ethics has already collapsed. This is why environmental ethics cannot be no longer valid as it is classical form. The most prominent question is to ask, according to environmental ethical theory, whether to attempt more control or to stop interfering it. As a result, we still have a duty to erase or imprints and destructive results of wrong decisions in terms of development, civilized lifestyle, metropolitan culture, so-called industrial metabolism of humankind, as Hamilton talked to us. It is not new indeed. So this was mentioned, maybe noted by Guy Debord in 1970s in his writing A Sick Planet. As Debord warned us, the terrible choice for the near future, total democracy and authority at work. And this society is a society overdeveloped, ruled by overdeveloped economy, and it turns everything into its circular dynamics. So we are living in such an alienated industrial production. It makes the rain, but maybe the revolution, maybe the green revolution, makes the sun. So we had such a big event, COP 27 Conference of Parties, and it was the 27th Conference of Parties. It was in Egypt, Sharm el-Sheikh, on November, and it was different in the space of environmental ethics because 45,000 participants for 2 weeks, they discussed this climate change, and they say that, or they mentioned, or they stated such a motto that climate change is not in the future, it is almost now. So countries are all under the danger. We after the post-pandemic situation, after the pandemics, we are in a food price crisis, and also we are living in a war period again. So here the sustainability is under question, and the sustainability is not sustainable anymore. So this slogan is first declared in COP27, COP27. So in the literature and the history of environmental summits, the idea of sustainability is no longer valid. This was the first distinguished feature of this event, this international global event. And secondly, they talk about the new conditions, these new administrative conditions for legal control codes for industrial inspection. So the producing chain is under the control of carbon footprint criteria, and the firms should balance themselves, auto-control themselves, and check their processes. That means under the various industries and sub-production brands, new prices will be added to the outcomes of the corporations. And that means green politics will be a subject of higher inflation and new payments for the consumers. And thirdly, the whole picture and the debate in general in this meeting infer the gap between reality and the ideal solutions getting bigger and bigger. The solutions are under the threat of the world economic system, and the world economic system is under the threat of ideal solutions neither. So COP27 tells us terminology has changed, production in industry and the finance has changed, the reality and the ideal position, the gap between those two positions concerns post-truth politics, and we should change many things altogether. So those challenges are not the challenge of globalism indeed. We have some individual challenges in terms of the future of the society. One is the blindness in catastrophe. So if you see some people on the street and ask them about the ideas about climate change, most of the people, and maybe the majority of people, they don't believe in this catastrophic climate change. And also the sustainability, the idea of sustainability has some policies in epistemological level and also for the applicational level. We need new climate regimes, and these regimes are all concerned under the idea of mondial or worldly and daily politics. So these conservative politics against the self, is a problem, is another problem. And the main problem maybe for us, for the academicians, for the teachers, and for the all education programs, they are all introverted. And that we can call narrow social sciences. They don't want to make any new paradigms or try to listen the other disciplines. So we are all lucky here. We are from many different branches and come together under the name of this Congress. So let me shift rapidly to my project in Bratislava in terms of my sabbatical leave. So we need action. Maybe we don't need environmental philosophy in classical form anymore. As a philosopher, I should say that. So we need action, but this action comes from politics, and also this action comes from the science and technology. So we should think about politics and the science politics and the politics of technology all together in one hand. But in terms of politics, if we are living in a post-truth era, that means there are many epistemological gaps, and the politicians use lies for that. So we need economics and also the values of economic system in terms of politics. On the other hand, for controlling our science and technology in action, we need some data from ecology, and also we cannot leave it out, the culture itself, because we are all living in a culture, and the culture and values should be changed in the basement level in order to make a good action that I call co-action. And this co-action, co-activity is a kind of bottom to up participation indeed, and collaboration as social responsibility, because we need new discourse. All these hierarchical or institutional discourses come from up to bottom. They are no longer valid. We have some cultural issues, and these cultural issues are hard issues, because those culture produces norms, and those norms produce attitudes. So we are all sharing the same resources, but that means we need justice, equality for the future of the climate. Of course, we have local benefits, but we need a global awareness. So if we try to establish a co-action in social sciences and in the all innovation processes, we will reach such a critical consciousness in it. So co-action, the term co here refers constitutional at the first hand. That means we have, as a constitutional level, human rights itself, the idea of human rights. But after Anthropocene, human rights doesn't mean that. The idea of anthropocentric understanding of humanity, that should refer some equality, some kind of justice. So the constitutional thing that we had here on the one hand is human rights. If we need collectivity to save the system, to save the planet, to save the earth, to save our future, also we need to, or maybe we should reconsider the idea of subjectivity. Because after consumption era, as Guy Debord said, this totality of consumption, this post-capital or the new neoliberal capitalism as a culture, of course, increases the idea of subjectivity as a kind of egoist idea. But we need a kind of coordinated, cooperated, and contributing policy. That means we need some synergy. This cooperation is very apparent in European Union politics as far as I observe. But how to contribute for the new countries, for the new policies, it is a problem. And we need a kind of complementary action. That means in a terms of maybe psychological or physical term, empathy for the all over the world. And maybe for the all cosmos, indeed, for the other planets. And also we need cognizance, and that comes from the idea of democracy. And we need, as a result, the consciousness, that means the ethics itself. So in order to conclude my issues as a result here, that the first one is we are all in a point that the speed of change is inevitably irreversible. So we have entered a dangerous era, a dangerous time, a dangerous epoch, and counting down for the irreversible human imprint on the global environment. And the second one, we have crisis, of course, between the political leaders, opinion makers, but this crisis is not the crisis of nature, but it becomes the crisis of nature. So we are all overruling nature by being human being. And we are also in this catastrophic climate disaster. And the dialect between nature and environment is not well integrated, and our necessities increase too much, but the nature is limited, and the biodiversity as a collection of this nature is limited. And we all realize after the COVID period, we are all under the threat of unbalanced biodiversity, and technology itself as technology, as only technology, is not the solution. We should think about the technology, between the interest of technology, between the use of technology and the idea. And here the eco-modernist idea is maybe not the right exit, because we need justice and equality. So we should enhance this idea. This modernism maybe is a kind of old modernism. So we need a kind of expanded idea of modernism here in terms of green politics. And environmentalism becomes a global problem, because it refers also conflict between countries, not only between the EU and the United States, but also the other countries, such as Pakistan, Afghanistan, the whole of Africa, and also like Alaska and the other continents. So, and these conflicts is between the industrial forces and technology producers. So we are all, as a mankind, we are all in an economic process, but this is also, as Scoville says, is a kind of pathological way of being. And in this pathological way of being, that we need something free from politics as environmental ethical theories. So we need coaction. We should turn to, or maybe the other naive or natural form of humanity. But how to do that? Because ethical concerns here lies in the philosophy of nature. But now we have the idea of praxis more than ethical theories, and this, in this new world, this action between politics and sociological action is very dominant, and also the technological mindfulness is much more dominant. Therefore, the environmental crisis, also the crisis of nature, but now the crisis of science, crisis of politics, crisis of technology, development policies, and life form presents itself in a kind of platform capitalism, as Tushar told in his book. So my idea is this, and in order to not to take much more time from Professor Durakbaşa, I should maybe conclude here. Thank you very much for your interest and for your attention.
Thank you so much, Professor Önkal. Thank you so much.
Sayın Profesör Önkal'a değerli katkıları için teşekkürlerimizi sunuyoruz. We would like to thank Professor Önkal for his major contribution. Konuğumuz Sayın Profesör Alptekin Erkollar sağlık problemi sebebiyle maalesef konferansımıza katılamıyor. Kendisine geçmiş olsun dileklerimizi iletiyoruz. Our guest, Professor Alptekin Erkollar, unfortunately cannot attend our conference due to health problems. We send him our best wishes. Şimdi Viyana Teknoloji Üniversitesi Personel Belgelendirme Kuruluşu'nun kurucusu ve Avusturya Forum Quality Sciences FQW'nun kurucu üyesi olan Sayın Profesör Numan Durakpaşa'yı takdim ediyorum. Doktor Fahri derecesi ve Profesör Fahri derecesi ile ödüllendirilen Sayın Durakpaşa şu an Slovak Teknik Üniversitesi, Cluj-Napoca Teknik Üniversitesi, Krakow Teknoloji Üniversitesi ve çeşitli diğer Avrupa üniversitelerinde öğretim görevlisi ve misafir profesör olarak görev almaktadır. Dear participants, we would like to invite the founder of the Personal Certification Body at Vienna University of Technology and founding member of Austrian Forum Quality Sciences, Professor Numan Durakpaşa. Professor Durakpaşa has been awarded the degree of Honorary Doctorate and Honorary Professorship. He is currently working as a lecturer and visiting professor at Slovak Technical University, Cluj-Napoca Technical University, Krakow University of Technology and various European universities. Sayın Profesör Numan Durakpaşa'yı konuşmalarını yapmak üzere davet ediyorum. Please welcome Professor Durakpaşa for his speech.
So, thank you very much for this kind introduction. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a great pleasure for me to participate in this conference and to speak to you today. And also, I would like to thank to the chair and the organizers for kindly inviting me to this important event this day. So this subject will be here in the field of revolutions in industrial and in the social side. So therefore, it will be here the speech today in the field of more technological developments. So it's here on the one hand, we know the Society 5.0. This is a also new announcement for these developments in the social side. And so it's here in that context, the new technologies, they are increasing here for the applications in the field of Industry 4.0 mostly, and now it's the transition going on in direction to Industry 5.0. So this is here on the one hand, looking in this way with the Society 5.0. This is a actually society that can solve various challenges and social problems during these developments in that direction. And it also utilizes various innovations that were born in the era of the industrial revolution, Industry 4.0 in that case, such as with the IT technologies, Internet on Things, Internet of Everything, and actually artificial intelligence, big data, robots to improve here the quality of human life. And so we can actually say here Society 5.0 can also be interpreted as a concept of human-centered and technology-based society. So we will look at here in that context where we can see here also these very strong interactions in general in industry and society with these revolutions. And so we have here to look in the field of the industrial area in application with the advanced technologies for the smart manufacturing. So I will try to make a short introduction here in this subject, because we know that case it's necessarily looking now these developments and in this era of the society 5.0, the world of education on the one hand plays a very important role in the improving the quality of human resources. Additional. Okay. In addition to the education, there are, of course, several elements and stakeholders, such as the government, community organizations, and also the entire society. They also included and welcome to the Society 5.0 era. And so we'll be here with this introduction in Society 5.0. They will bring challenges for humanity. And one point we have already heard about this problem is very important problem, the destruction of our environment, as well as increasing income inequality. This will become a worldwide crisis probably in the future. Therefore, is a very important and critical issue to look here in that way. And we are going then to look here the solutions in the industrial area according to these developments for the application of intelligent systems, advanced technologies, and giving here also the model based on the integrated systems and intelligent metrology and geometrical product specifications and verification, and also the linking intelligent integrated management to advanced intelligent technologies. So this can be seen here, maybe a little bit more in this field. From the industry side, is a big challenges now, of course. That means to retain its place globally. Industries will need to be creative and innovative. And also to do this, we'll need to attract and retain the top talent with rapidly evolving technological innovations. Therefore, is of course a very, very important task in that context for the educational organizations. They should also here adapt and provide the necessarily educational basement for this era. So this is here also in the context now in the industry 5.0. This is actually the next step of the developments in industry 4.0. And so this will be here in that case additional requirement to involve experts, human experts, and also it's necessarily the creativity in a close cooperation with the intelligent and advanced machines and instruments. So that means from that point of view, industries will need to be creative and innovative, and need then such people as a very high qualified persons with here very familiar with this technological developments. So that's therefore necessarily to create new models. So we have here in such a case also the people which are here as employees. So it's new demands, for example, for the Generation Z, social change companies. They are increasingly confronted with these issues in the labor market. And so it's necessarily here recruiting and new strategies to attract also employees and retain existing staff are very highly necessary. So this would be here given the technological side. So that means for the future technological evolution, this must be respect all key priorities, including the environmental, of course, social, human-centric ones. So the problems that here the technical personnels, the engineers will encounter will be also here ever-changing, complex, and require in that way a set of skills that will evolve rapidly over their careers in the digitalization and also deployment of the such growing technologies in the information and communication technology, ICT. They are here transforming the machining and the manufacturing industry worldwide. So that's here, therefore, for the technological side, we have here the important components of the manufacturing side from the product realization processes. The parts in the design and metrology general is necessarily for everything in that case, is a very important place in this new concept. And to have with this applications such as resource efficient, user friendly, and environmentally friendly manufacturing solutions, and of course high quality products. So this is of course also one critical point in that context, quality and innovation actually. So they are playing a crucial role for companies to remain competitive in the market. So that means, on the one hand, quality aims at higher and sustainable performance in existing business areas, while innovations aims breakthrough. Therefore, such both concepts are to some extent mutually dependent in that case. A company must be innovative in solving problems in order to achieve quality, and also in the same way it must have the necessary quality to achieve sustainable innovation. This is of course a critical issue and should be here followed in this era and with the developments. And therefore, we need now for the factories of the future, these technologies such as digitalization and also deployment of growing technologies in the ICT. They are transforming the machining and the manufacturing industry worldwide. So this will be here based on the concept of the Industry 4.0. This is actually an innovative concept and a model for the future factories, which is here the aim to provide cost-effective, efficient, agile, and optimal ways to so-called produce customer-driven products. And looking at these future challenges in that area, it is as before, it's necessarily the high quality and high precision in the manufacturing industry. So it's again using by the design of the products of a company industry. Therefore, it's necessarily the trends in setting of the such product specifications, which are according to the international standards in that field, as called geometrical product specifications and verification. And also the advanced and intelligent metrology cycle in such a modern industry. New products, so it's here also this trend in to the micro and nano technologies. So those such products composed of micro components and nanostructures, and the efficient use of resources as raw material, energy, etc. This is a really one very serious problem, and it will be also more critical in the next future. So this could be here the problem in that case for the next generation factory with this new techniques and so on. So this can be here also used, and this will be then in our proposal for model here will be used in that context. This is here given with the extensively using of the IT technologies on the one hand, such as the advanced informatic analytics, artificial intelligence, and such interconnected industrial IoT as a part of automated and intelligent robotic applications, and networked intelligent machines and instruments. These models will be also able to perform more efficiently, collaboratively, and sustainably. That makes possible and agile and optimal industrial production in any kind of industry towards to the Industry 5.0. So this will be here, of course, also a big challenge. And if we are looking here, the components of such a model with using advanced technologies, the metrology and the manufacturing area, the modern quality systems as according to the system integration, and such as from the environmental side, the digital ecosystem simulation, and the so-called integrated management system in that form. So this can be here looking also in this way the very fast development in this technological fields as automation, metrology, ICT. They are actually three of the fastest growing latest technological trends today. And so this will be here more and more those technologies influenced by such micro, nano, pico, and femto technologies. So they are here also the developments to create miniature parts at micro and nano scale, also for the other disciplines, for example, in the medicine to apply it for the healthness and for the solution problems in that way. So this is then here can be seen this industrial enterprises. They are making this step and moving towards the transition period to new production technology in micro, nano, and pico scale. And so such functional products with very complex structures and also high operating efficiency targets. And so it's here necessarily to apply, of course, here these technologies, especially at the micro, nano, pico scale, require integration of high level of quality in conformance with manufacturing processes and also micro, nanometrical assessment and evaluation. So this will be here from that point of view, of course, this digital transformation of the industry. This is facing a radical microeconomic structural change. And so we can see here this the realization actually of today's advanced manufacturing technology applications. They have led the way to a novel market with this new technologies in the area with the micro and nano components. And this can be here in the manufacturing area. These new models can be developed on the on these technologies, on the basis of these technologies, production technology from that side, advanced metrology, integrated systems, and this extensive use of the IT technologies. And in this model, existing the modern integrated systems, such as based on the intelligent quality systems, which provide this opportunity to have the improvement in the production, and also avoiding the failures and mistakes in the process. And so it will be, of course, necessarily totally avoid such mistakes and errors in the production process. And such an integrated system with the environmental management on the one hand, and they are here according to the international standard already with the such environmental management systems based on this standard ISO 14001, and also energy management systems. This is the management systems based on the, again, international already published standard ISO 15000 series. Then we have here almost in the past very late, we can say, also established the occupational health and safety management system. This is meanwhile for some years ago also and based on the international standard ISO 45000 standard series. Then also we have the information security management system, which is in that era in the digitalization very important part also of this integrated system. And also the risk management and so on, the knowledge management, etc. They are also possible components which will be here integrated in such a management system with based on the process approach and the continuously improvement system and tool according to the timing cycle, and with the risk-based thinking. So this could be seen here in such a way. So this will be done with this model, the main strategy, advanced metrology, quality system, and also automation currently fulfill the basic tasks in the design of industrial productions by practicing and applying high precise instruments, and also of course methods in that area within the sophisticated production systems, and is knowledge and innovation management will be here also an important part in this system. So this, what does it mean, the innovation management? This is actually a combination of the management and management of innovation processes, and also change management. Knowledge management, in that case, of course, typically focus on organizational objectives such as improved performance, competitive advantage, innovation, and the sharing of lessons learned, integration, and continuous improvement of the organization. To have here with this integrated management in advanced production system, where we have here this term business continuity management system. So we'll be here with this proposed solution methodology. We have here this model, and we can consider as a further step with a target of intelligent and economical manufacturing environment using the quality systems and quality assurance cycle as given here in this model, which is based on the ISO 9001 quality systems. And so this is here in that case, the intelligent management, integrated management information, and also the programs will be online exchange and modified concurrently, interactively, and collaboratively. So it runs autonomously. Autonomous technology is important here in that case, according to the adequate functional quality, environmental and energy management tasks, and organizes all manufacturing activities and units optimally in adequate factories. Looking now such a cycle in the manufacturing area, this is a one example of the efficient product life cycle management, which is involving simulation, modeling, and knowledge management from the product conception and development stage down to the manufacturing, verification, maintenance, and recycling. And this will be done here in that form according to the continuously improvement applied in the processes. So this is here in that case, in nearly we can say all technical areas. The real aim of the such measurement process is not only testing the conformance actually of the features value with the specification. The real intention in that case is the predictive assessment of the functionality. In order to understand this background of this model with the GPS, this is a necessarily to look the historical review of the development of this today present rules for the design of the products, and also the application of the tolerance systems actually necessary. So this will be here given in the in this slide. The design process is a very complex, but as a first here at the beginning of the product realization process, a very important part. So it's here necessarily for the design stage to have here designer who are competent in that form, that first of all, this product design must be carried out using this three sequentially steps. First of all, is necessarily to define the to know the functional needs actually for a product, and from that functional need can be derived the functional specification, and from that we can come to the geometrical specification, which is then necessarily to prepare for the manufacturing system. And afterwards can be here get the conformity assessment with the real product, and on the other side, the opposite side, is the specifications which are already established in that area. So this is necessarily here this relation between actual workpieces and also the workpiece or product which imagined by the designer, and the manufactured as well, and also the knowledge about the workpiece as measured, that we can get really the information now after this verification process, which is then necessarily not only for the certain product, but also for the in the connection in the network. Here is necessarily to use this information for the whole production system and whole for the all processes as well. So this will be here used in that way for the effective use of analysis, simulation, and visualization tools. Gives here very much, several advantages for the intelligent and integrated management system design, and also quality assurance of the design. And so it's necessarily in such a system the parallel processing, virtual reality, and virtual prototyping technologies to design and simulate the customers driven intelligent integrated management systems, and also of course their systematical function activities, as well as create a fully digital production and programs for the entire manufacturing process. Maybe also very short some examples from that area in the manufacturing such products in the miniaturization. So it's a racing car used here advanced technologies as additive manufacturing, which translates here the virtual 3D models into physical objects by digital slicing of such virtual objects, 3D models, and using here the three-dimensional scanners, such as also X-ray tomographic devices in the additive manufacturing area, so can be built such objects layer by layer without the need for molds or machining in that way. Therefore, we have here always looking the object as a 3D model, and here is the in that case used the polymerization technology to create such 3D models in that area. You can see here this is a very small racing car as a model, which is here created at the laboratories of the Vienna University of Technology. With the dimensions, you can see this is the in the height of this racing car. If we can get the intersection, is about 70 micrometers. That's size really. And here are also these applications on the different forms. You can see this here on the plate used with the additive manufacturing to create such models in the micro scale production. Well, to see here this model, which can be here, give an example from the laboratory.
Dear Professor, sorry for interruption. Due to our time limit, could you please summarize? Sorry
we are already at the end of
okay, sorry.
Yeah, so this will be here even maybe take very shortly also this short summary here. So this will be again given the primary purpose of Industry 5.0 is to apply creative, personalized experience to fulfill the personalized demand. And so it will be here with the proposed model, integrated systems. They can, of course, play a fundamental role in enabling concept realization, creating, realizing, and delivering features such as simultaneous, interactive, modular, integrative, learning, autonomous, self-optimizing, and also self-regulating functions in such a way. Well, so far is our long speech, and thank you very much for hearing this speech, and I will conclude with these conclusions.
Thank you, Professor, and sorry for again the interruption. Dear participants, we are end of our opening speech. If you have any question, please free to ask to our professor. I guess there's no question.
I think everything is clear. If something is
Yes.
not unclear, so please take the opportunity to contact me by email or something like that in the next feature. Okay.
Dear Professor, we have a question from Mr. Imran, I guess.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Should I ask my question?
Of course, please.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, thank you so much for the nice presentation. I would like to thank to all of you. So it was a very fruitful presentation overall. And I would like to thank my teacher, Ms. Esra, for inviting me to this fruitful discussion. After that, myself, Imran, I'm from Pakistan. Presently, I'm pursuing my master's in international economics from Marmara University. So my question is relating to the catastrophe that is happening in the world due to the global warming at the same time to the GDP growth. For example, if we start from the 17th century agriculture revolution to industry revolution, and then this industry 4.0 revolution, and is in the world, like in this world, is for example, the GDP is going by 5% or 6%. At the same time, are there enough measures have been taken to cope with the negative effect of the global warming at the same time or not? That's the first question. And the second thing is that I belong to one of the backward district of Pakistan, namely Chitral. Every year, there are floods are coming, and we have been affected a lot due to the negative effects of this global warming. So we are bearing the harshness of this catastrophic global warming effects, but we are not, at the same time, there is no infrastructure for us. There is nothing for us to cope up with this negative effect of the global warming. So at the same time, we are bearing the cost of the developed countries. They are producing more. Their GDP growth is high. So at the same time, their negative excretion are affecting developing countries. At the same time, the underdeveloped district like Pakistan. So in this regard, what you will say, is the growth and the measure, the anti-measure of the global warming should be parallel or not? Yes, sir.
Well, this is now, of course, a very important point that you mentioned now. I think now it's more and more with this development, this issue for many people, first of all, of course, also for the scientists and experts in that area, but also now they are here such critical stories that can be happen in the next feature, and they are trying now in this way the measures actually. There are many activities at the moment, also at the scientific works to avoid these negative effects worldwide. It is, of course, a very important but also very difficult problem, actually. But on the other hand, now looking on the one hand for the measures, it's also from the each person actually taken into consideration, and this is, I think, a good idea and good progress in that way. But of course, there is here important more in the general and where these impacts are very huge, should be taken first of all into consideration. And this here also in our case, we looked for the environmental and energy management in such a case. Those are here already integrated in this model to avoid, first of all, here in the industrial area for the industrial companies necessarily always to follow the rules of such things, that the energy consumption and also, of course, energy production should be here always considered within the such energy management systems.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your concern.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your question and your answer, Professor. Thank you. If there is any question also to Professor Güncel Önkal. Also, there's one question, but sir want to write into chat. I'm going to read when he's wrote.
While waiting for the chat session, may I add something, Gülsena?
Of course, please.
In terms of considering Imran's question, because on September last year, the flus in Pakistan indeed changed the way of United Nations environmental policy and the dialogue in COP27. So last year in this meeting, our star was Pakistan. Maybe it's not good to say, but thanks to such a catastrophe, after that, the Western perspective, in a way, expanded into other world. I mean, they were distinguishing those words into two sections, the world well-developed and the world developing. So in terms of Society 5.0, we should understand that in terms of this question and Professor Durakbaşa's answer, the development here is under the question. But I think the co-action that I search for social sciences is not well constructed in the social sciences, but in the level of technology. Co-action goes very fast. I mean, in his presentation, as far as I understood, the care, the technological care here, or the technology for care or saving the planet is much more prominent now. So that means we are using technology maybe not to develop much more, but to save the development level and also to save the equality in the world system. So and the climate change is such a mark for us, and also the floods in Pakistan, also the other climate catastrophic things, those things also the commitments for the United Nations. And we observe such a big policy change in the eve of new society paradigm. So thank you for this question that inspired me.
Thanks for your contribution, Professor. Hüseyin Ünal, here's the question. It's also related with all your answers. What are the effects of new sectors Society 5.0? I assume that he is asking about job opportunities, or he's also wrote new opportunities, the effects of new sectors to Society 5.0. Yes, about job. He answered that. Dear professors. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, but this question is for Professor Durakbaşı, I think.
I don't know.
For these new sectors, or
yes,
New
sectors,
sector.
effects of new sectors to Society 5.0.
Well, I think it's a very important part is in the educational area. Yeah, you need here high qualified professionals, and so it's will be necessarily now to take this opportunity and also prepare here the possibilities for the such educated persons, professionals. Well, within the industry and Society 5.0, it's of course also necessarily to offer from the organizations for the existing employees, and so it's here also necessary to prepare also the such people because the experience is very, very important, and must be also look for the continuity in the working area. And so it's in that case, it's of course even for such a big and large area field of the applications of these technologies, it's would be then also new opportunities in this sector, in that area.
Thank you, Professor. Değerli katılımcılarımız, açılış konuşmalarımızın sonuna geldik. Sorusu olan varsa profesörlerimize duymak isteriz. Sanırım yok. Katkılarınız için çok teşekkür ederiz. Sayın Güncel Önkal, Numan Durakbaşı, Gamze Sert, sağ olun. Programımız saat 1'de sürdürülebilir kalkınma ve endüstri 5.0, ardından saat 3'te sivil toplum 5.0'da sosyal girişimcilik temalı paneller ile devam edecektir. Katılımlarınızı bekliyoruz. Dear participants, our opening session has ended. Our conference will continue with the panel themed Sustainable Development and Industry 5.0 at 1 p.m. and followed by the Social Entrepreneurship in Civil Society 5.0 panel at 3 p.m. Thank you for your all participation and contribution.